No song, no theme tune, no intro.
That's depressing.
Are you awake yet?
Well, it depends. It depends.
On what?
What you consider being awake. Ouch.
Awake, having the cognitive ability to stitch words into sentences.
Oh. Well, no then. I've been asleep for 2 days.
What?
Well, I didn't have that cognitive ability yesterday, that's for sure.
You were tripping a bit.
I was slightly confused. I continued being confused in the gym.
Did you how do you get confused in a gym? I mean, it's pretty much designed so that you can't do anything but the right movements.
Well, when you talk to people, you can be confused.
You talk to people in the gym.
Well, no, you talk to people after the gym. I was talking to the guy after I finished.
The guy. The guy.
The gym guy.
The what?
The gym guy.
I bet you he looks weird.
It looks like a leprechaun.
Did I know that? I knew that. I knew that gym guys always look weird.
Yeah, I know. He looks... he doesn't look like a gym guy. He looks like a leprechaun, but he is the gym guy.
There must be a problem doing chin-ups and stuff like that.
I don't know. I've never seen him doing chin-ups. I can ask him to do some for me next time.
He's probably extremely knowledgeable.
In chin-ups area.
Mm.
The field of chin-ups.
Mm.
Good. People need to be knowledgeable in that area. It's a good area.
It's good to have a gym.
Yeah, it is. It's very good.
You said that there was that girl admiring herself.
Yeah. I was trying to figure out if she's actually doing something, but I don't see it. You know?
Well, she's just I don't know, what would be a sort of a barfly term that would be somebody in a gym?
Gym fly?
No, I was trying to avoid that. A gym rat, maybe?
It sounds slightly derogatory.
Well, that's the point. I think barfly is not exactly a positive, is it?
Oh, I don't know. I'm not sure what it means.
It's a guy who hangs around a bar.
Ah, okay. Well, she wasn't a guy.
All right. Well, it could be a woman that hangs around a bar, but it just tends to be guys more. Women are usually
Well, yeah, because
busy
women
at
have... yeah, exactly. Because women have useful things to do.
like stare at themselves in the mirror.
Yeah. That was really weird. I was trying to figure out, maybe she's got some kind of, specific exercise regimen, like...
For what?
Regimen.
Oh, right.
Exercise. Like maybe you're supposed to, like, do 5 bicep curls and then look at yourself for 3 minutes. Maybe it actually does something,
I don't know, was she pretty?
Yes.
Well, I guess if you're pretty, you can look at
was.
yourself.
She was also very fit, so it was obviously working. Maybe I'll start doing that. Because she was actually very, fit-like. Very fit-like.
Fit like, oh yes, I go on the gym, she's fit like, eh? Oh, I wouldn't have mind. Oh.
Yep. Oh my god.
Well.
Someone it sounds like when a Scottish guy is drooling over a woman.
I don't know. And I don't want to know how that sounds at all. All I know is we went to the play barn this week,
Mhm.
and I was in shock once again at the lack of fitness on display from the people there. Everyone looked like they had some kind of semi-serious health problem, and it really bothers me. I even made a rant about it. I recorded a rant about it for 10 minutes, and I haven't published it because I fear that I just might offend too many people. Is that even possible? With my thoughts about health and well-being in society.
I didn't see anybody who would look like they had a serious health problem.
Yeah, not even the person who walked right by you completely shaking
Well, no, I
and,
didn't.
and stumbling and with a weird worried look on their face, and I said, that person doesn't look well, and you're like, who?
Well, I wasn't watching. I was watching someone else. Looking
Yeah, but they
somewhere
walked
else.
across your field of vision. It wasn't like they were
No,
hiding in
he
the
was
corner or,
walking
or something. And
Past
they did
me. I was
slowly. They
looking
walked
on the other
really
side.
slowly past you.
For crying out loud. Okay, well, so I didn't look in that direction. I was looking
No,
in
you
the
don't have to look
opposite
in that direction. They crossed your field of vision.
You don't have to look in a direction. You can be looking
What?
in the opposite direction.
No, you can't. Would you have eyes at the back of your head? What?
I was not looking in that direction, G. I did not see that person. I believe that he was there, but that's one person out of about 50 that were there.
No.
30.
No, I also counted the people there. 10 people there. Yeah. There were 10 adults there. There were maybe one or two more when we arrived, but there were constantly less and less people. We obviously hit their low peak time or whatever. I don't know when there's...
Yeah, well, they had the baby and toddler group, so there was a lot of young mothers with babies and toddlers.
That big long table.
Uh-huh.
There were two sitting opposite each other talking. I counted them.
It was not just there. They were all over the place. They weren't just at the big long table.
Well, I thought that's why the big long table was there, to help them communicate with each other.
Well, yes, it was. It's a stupid idea. You don't need to
I don't
help
know.
adults communicate with each other, for fuck's sake. They're adults. They should be able to communicate with each other well enough.
Yes, I totally agree with that, although I don't think it's bad to give people a bit of a helping hand.
Yeah, but nobody was sitting there. Everybody was just sitting at their own table, as you pointed out.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, obviously it wasn't working as they planned it to work, although it doesn't mean it wasn't a nice idea. Although I get the point, which is you want your own personal space, so you don't want to sit with people that you don't know, because maybe you don't like them, maybe you want your own time to yourself. I get it. Also, half the people there sent their kids into the play area and got out their mobile phone and just stared into it.
Let me just say that for an organized session, it was not very organized.
Oh, was it supposed to be organized?
Well, I don't know, putting tables together and having special things going on. It suggests that it was supposed to be semi-organized, but
Yeah, the lack of healthy
maybe
options.
if you had maybe if people came and if you had other people saying, "Oh, hi, you have babies and toddlers. Why don't you come here and sit here at this big long table? There you go. Can I help you with anything? Blah blah blah. We have blah blah blah." Just introduce the parents to each other and then help them start off or whatever if you want to help them. But just putting a big long table in the middle and then let everybody just sit at their own table and that just sounds like it's just a bit silly.
Well, you do
sitting
need some kind of
workout.
icebreakers. I mean, even in business
Yes, that's
communication,
what I'm talking about.
you have these activities where people get to
Yeah.
learn about each other.
I know, that's what I'm talking about. I mean, you can't just tell people, "Oh, hey, hi, look, there's a big table, you can communicate," and then fuck off.
I don't know, maybe you put a quiz on the table or word search on the table or maybe you put some books on the table, or maybe you have some quest or treasure hunt, or I don't know. I mean, there must be a million things.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I think it's a nice idea. I just don't think that they've got it down to actually being effective.
Well, it's about as effective as the healthy choice of foods available. Yeah.
I guess it's a start. Oh, you've got that healthy choice of food everywhere, Jay. It's not just
Relatively,
in
yes.
Play Barn, it's
Relatively,
everywhere.
yes. Like I said last week, if I see one more bacon sandwich, I'm going to lose my mind.
I wanted to make bacon sandwiches for dinner yesterday, actually.
Yeah.
So that would have been funny.
Oh, that was last week, though. I was losing my
Oh.
mind last week with it. Once a week is fair enough, even though it's processed bacon and not real bacon. So.
What do you mean by processed bacon and not real bacon? What's a real bacon?
Okay, well, the way that British people buy bacon, it's in the long, thin strips.
Yes.
Right.
Uh-huh.
Well, that's not actually a sliced piece of meat from the animal.
Okay. Continue.
Just new information for you.
Yes.
Okay. You remember ages ago?
Did you just say, you remember?
you remember?
I remember. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm speaking in the Scots vernacular now.
Right.
You remember? Yeah. Wait, where's the accent? You remember?
Uh-huh.
Right. There was this video going around Facebook about a ham production in Slovakia.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you remember. You remember? I don't know if you remember. But
Yeah.
and it
Keep
was something
talking.
like ham from Italy that was exported to Slovakia was lower quality because they took a piece of ham and they mixed chemicals in it and they liquidized it and then they made it they expand and they got like 4 times the amount of ham out of one piece of ham.
Yes,
Because- Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
I know
right?
how they do that. Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Uh-huh.
Oh, they do the same thing with bacon here.
You can't do the same thing with bacon.
Yeah, but you can, because if you can do it with ham, you can do it with bacon.
No, because with ham you can process it. Because you can see
and then
the
you stick it
slice-
back
but-
to get. Then
no, but look, when you've got a slice of ham that's processed ham, you can see that it's processed. You can see that it's not meat. You know what I mean? You can see that it's not one piece of meat. Yeah? You can see that it's just this weird
like a
mass
thin
of
strip,
thickness.
like a thin strip. It's like the salami in that people buy in those long rolls, right?
But you
That's
can
processed.
but everybody knows that's processed. You can see it's processed. You can see the little chunks in it. It's supposed to be processed. That's the whole
Are
point
you
of
telling me that
salami.
bacon is not processed
But I don't.
when I know that it is?
Well, I can imagine that they can. Let me think. What can they do with bacon?
I'm going to find a video
They
and it's going
can
to blow your mind.
Probably inject it with something for it to expand, like they inject meat with water for it to appear bigger, right? So
Right.
I can imagine that they can inject bacon with water.
Why do you
to appear
think?
bigger.
Let me understand the thought process. Why do you think that what they can do with ham they can't do with bacon?
Because ham is produced completely differently than bacon. Because ham is mixed with salts and then stuffed in a roll, and then cut up, right? But with bacon, you can see that it's actually meat. You know, I mean, they can cut. You can cut the side of the pig off of the pig, yeah, and then you can maybe dip it in some chemicals, right? But you can't throw it in a blender, mix it all up, then stir it and put a lot of weird looking powder in it, and then ram it all into a weirdly shaped tube and then slice it up. That's just not how they make bacon.
Well, let me give you something to think about in terms of that. How come the bacon in Slovakia is so different from the bacon in Scotland?
Because they make it differently. Because bacon in Scotland is fresh meat, but bacon in Slovakia is dried and smoked mostly. Also, bacon in Scotland is supposed to be meat with a little bit of fat on the side, but bacon in Slovakia is mostly the fat and just a little bit of meat on the side. It's just a different type of bacon and different type of making it. They actually dry. Slovak people actually smoke and dry their bacon. You don't smoke and dry this bacon. You could, but it wouldn't be very good. It would be very chewy because you only have a little bit of fat on the side and most is meat. It would be like jerky.
It would probably be quite hard to light it as well. Anyway, you know what I'm going to do later? I'm going to
Have a bacon sandwich?
Google the horrors of processed bacon, or the process, or the evil process, or the unbelievable process of the creation of bacon. I'm going to
Alright,
see
so you're googling something objective, obviously.
Well, I'm searching for what I want to find.
Exactly. That's exactly the problem with modern internet usage. You search for what you want to find.
Yeah, it's specific pieces of information.
That's
Because
the cognitive bias.
what? No, it's called keywords. If
Well,
I want to buy a red car and I search red car, it's not cognitive bias. It's an
Yes,
intelligent
but if you type in
process.
red cars are horrible, you're going to find, you're not going to find the objective information on how red cars really are. You're only going to find articles
Do you think
that
you're
say
going to
that
find
red
any?
cars
Do you
are
think any
horrible.
major company has advertising, promotional, or documentary material which is not positive towards their brand? Do you think Cadbury's tell the whole story of the production of their chocolate in their short films, in their marketing, in their advertising? Do you think Tunnock's tea cakes tell the whole story about their production?
In
They
journalism,
don't.
you need both sides of the story. Therefore,
Oh
should
yeah,
Google-
that's why the wildfires are burning the houses and not the trees.
why are you we're just talking about ham. Can we stick
No,
to the
you
topic?
said journalism. You said journalism.
Yes, but we're talking about fucking bacon.
You said journalism.
not
You
about
used
wildfires.
journalism as being objective. I'm saying journalism is not objective.
Well, it should be. I said it should be objective.
But it's not. It doesn't matter what it should
well,
be. It
so
only matters what it is.
So just because something is not ideal, you're going to continue doing it in a way that is not ideal. I mean, that
Not
doesn't
my
make
choice.
any
It's their
sense.
choice.
It is your choice.
It's
You can
their
always
choice.
make your own choice.
It's their choice. I can't just decide what other people do.
No, but you can decide what you do. We're talking about what you are going to Google, not what somebody else.
Yes,
Talking
but
about
you talked about
wildfires is going to
journalism being
Google.
objective.
My point is, G, if you can let me speak, is that you need to be objective and you need to find your information against something, but also for something. You need to hear both sides of the story, right? So you Google the horrors of ham, yeah? I like the alliteration there.
The horrors of ham.
The horrors
You-
of ham.
You're going to end up with a 1960s B movie about
A wild pig.
wild pigs and half-naked women taking over the universe.
Yep. So you can Google the horrors of ham, but you should also Google the processing methods and then compare the information so that you get the whole picture, you know?
Yeah, I just know that the other side is going to present everything that's all rosy-cheeked. It's like if you have a documentary about cars, it's not going to tell you about all the waste produce. It's not going to tell you about all the unsold vehicles. It's not going to tell you about transportation costs. It's not going to tell you about design failure. It's just going to present all the positive elements, and I'm specifically looking for something that they don't want people to know.
Yeah, but you should know both. You should know both the negative elements and the positive elements to get the whole picture.
You should, but if you're searching for something specific, which is something that you know people are trying to hide, right? I mean, if you're searching for, I don't know,
The horrors of Ham. Let's stick to
the
the topic.
deforestation, right? I mean, of whatever area of whatever country, right? You know, the term deforestation is negative, so you're not going to say, oh no, you have to search for reforestation every time you search for deforestation. That's ridiculous, right? I mean, obviously you know that exists.
But you just made it completely.
No, reforestation and deforestation are the two sides that you talked about.
No,
and you would never search for both.
No, if I want to know about deforestation, I'm going to look for deforestation. I'm not going to look for why deforestation is bad. I'm going to look for deforestation, right? And I will get articles about how deforestation is bad, and
but you're not factoring in something. You're not factoring in something which is really important, which is I am not searching. I'm not using that. See, you think that I'm using that search term because that's what I think. And I'm telling you that I'm not, because I know how the internet works. I know how the data is processed. I know how the meta tags work. I know how the search engines work. And I know how the creators of the content think. And to find the articles, I am specifically looking at the types of tags that people put to their articles.
Okay, I understand that.
Yeah, and you're acting like it's me who's
I'm not an idiot.
looking at the negative things. I know you're acting like it's me who's making it negative, but it's not me who's making it negative, because I know that the creators of this content use those tags in their
I'm not saying you're making it negative. I'm saying that you're looking for specific information where you should be looking for both sides for more information than rather just that one.
Yeah, but if you search neutral, you get positive. So you have to search negative to find alternative.
Well, I'm saying that
that's how it works. That's how it works.
I'm saying that you should search for both.
Look, if you're looking for a way to fix a broken car, you don't search for cars that are okay. You search for cars that are broken. It's just the way that the search terms work on the internet. It's got fuck all to do with me and everything to do with the way that the data is already processed and put out. You have to use the system in the way that the system is designed to be used. It doesn't matter what the fuck I think about it.
Yes, G, I understand. You missed my point, but okay.
No, I got your point. Your point was you have to look at both sides. And I'm saying you have to skew towards one side, because neutral is, on the internet, neutral is positive. So you have to go slightly extreme to find negative. That's the way that the data is processed. That's the way that it works. Yes,
but I said you're supposed to find the negative and the positive, not just the negative. Skew, by all means.
Why do you think I'm not going to search for positive things as well? Why would you assume
because you didn't mention it.
Oh, because I didn't mention it, you automatically assume that it's the case.
Well, you said you were going to look for the bad things. So I suggested that you should also look for the good things. What's wrong with that?
Well, that's not what I'm looking for, because neutral searches automatically pull up good things. That's what's wrong with that. So if you just searched production process for
I didn't
blah,
say
blah, blah.
just G, I said as well. When will you get that through?
Well, I haven't finished my... I'm just telling you how I would begin. I'm not telling you how I would end.
I understand.
I don't know how it would end, because I don't know where it would take me.
I understand what you're saying. I know if you do a neutral search, it will come with a positive whatever. I understand that, because you said it about 3 times. I get it. Okay? I was just saying...
Just
saying. Yes. That, yes, do look for the horrors of Ham. And get...
You're going to get the Hammer House of Horror, you know that. You're going to get that British film not industry. What was it? Production company. That's what it was. That made all those classic horror films.
Yes,
The Devil Rides Out.
do search for the horrors of Ham and get all the negative information out. But don't forget to look at the positive information so that you can balance it and then decide for yourself what and when and how.
More cheese, Gromit.
Crackers!
More cheese.
My God, how early is it?
What do you mean, how early is it? It's morning. Doesn't matter how early it is. Are you just worried because it's dark outside and it shows no signs of getting light?
I could see the Venus again.
It's not called the Venus.
What is it?
It's
called?
just Venus.
Yes, but you know, because we were looking at it a few days ago,
But you decided to change the name.
and because we saw how bright it was, I was kind of, you know.
Is it Venus?
It is.
How do you know? Did you download one of those apps and point
Yes,
it
I
at the
did.
sky?
I did.
And it
Well,
said,
I didn't point it.
"Oh, it's
you
there!
have
It's
to
there this
align it.
morning." I looked out the
Yes,
window
it's massively
I-
huge.
when I got up, and it's kind of right in front of
Yeah, it's Venus.
our bedroom window,
Yeah. Yeah.
where we're not right now because
There's not
Because-
much else it could be. Where is my phone?
What?
Did you? Oh, here it is.
you have to play with something.
No, I just wanted to double check if it really was Venus, but my phone is just about to die. So
How can you double check it was Venus when we're in the kids' bed
because you don't point
in
it,
the other side of the house?
you
Because
look for it by looking at the sides of the world. What do you call it?
the sides of the world,
The four directions.
the fourth, the six faces of the planet Earth. Was a fucking Terry Pratchett novel.
You know what I mean.
What? The cuboids of the universe.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
The world is a giant marble of destiny.
I've got the north there. Which way is north? Where we're sitting.
Which I don't. Do I look like a fucking compass?
I'm supposed to look at the east, right? Because
Why?
because it comes out in the east.
I don't look. I'm surrounded by four walls. I don't know.
Yes,
which
but
way is
because
what.
there's always sunrise on that side of the house, it suggests it's the east. Yes, it's Venus. Look, you got it there,
Yeah.
loud and clear. Well, it's not loud. But it's clear.
Loud. That's Venus is really loud. What's
Venus is
Is
huge.
Virgo a star or a system?
Virgo is a system.
Okay.
Look
Is
there.
Venus in Virgo?
See?
Oh, what's this? That's a woman with wings.
Yeah. Yeah. No.
Interesting.
Yes, Venus seems to be in that system. Uh-huh.
I wonder if there's a parallel between all those Marvel comic characters and the ancient gods. Because that picture just reminds me of something like that.
Perhaps.
Somebody spent time creating that app. That's quite interesting.
It's a beautiful app.
It does. It
It
does
really
look
is.
quite nice.
It is very nice.
Yeah, I've never noticed Venus before. That's strange. It's probably always been there.
Yes, it has. I have noticed it before.
Yeah.
But it's very big at this time. It's like it's bigger. Maybe
Is
it's
that 'cause
closer.
yeah, is that 'cause it's closer? Maybe.
Could be. Maybe it's in some kind of weird.
The moon was really, really big yesterday, and then a couple of hours later, it was really, really small. I
Uh-huh.
don't understand how that happens.
I'm trying to get Venus closer, but
You're trying to fucking pull in a planet.
just yeah.
That's gravitas.
Ah, got it.
What are you? Is that one of those apps where you can pretend to be a
Yeah.
spaceship and
Yeah.
fly? Oh my god, it is. You can
I just
actually,
got closer to it. There you go.
you can actually pretend to visit the planet.
Kinda,
Okay.
as we would say. Kinda.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's super cool.
I'd
Okay.
like to go to that planet.
To Venus.
Yeah.
You should
Apparently,
go
it's
to
just
Venus.
populated by women.
Is it?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
No.
No.
Oh, okay. Is that,
It's very hot and it's got a toxic atmosphere made of sulfur. Is that why they say it's populated by women?
I can imagine that some men might might relate to that.
Yeah, you wouldn't like it.
Probably
like
not.
it
I mean, the constant smell of sulfur might get on my nerves just a little bit.
Yeah, that's why it seems to be yellowish, orangish type thing, because it's got the sulfur thing going on. Yeah, it's
I'm
not
hearing
a very friendly
strange
planet.
noises. Do you hear that?
Yeah.
What is that? Apart from sounding like a ghost trapped in the water tank.
It does sound like it, doesn't it? Or a whale.
Yeah, it's like the house has been swallowed by a whale.
Mm-hmm. It's a weird noise. It's just weird, low howling noise. It's gone.
It might be the wind, you know. It might be the wind.
Maybe it's your dad getting up.
Because the wind sometimes makes that noise, is it?
The
As
wind
it
usually
whistles
goes
round.
whistle though, no?
Well, the wind whistles when it's around the window, but it moans when it's around the edge of the house. Don't ask me why. I don't know why it's like that.
I don't blame it.
Like
I would
that.
moan as well if I was around the edge of the house.
That's it.
Oh yeah, it must be the wind.
But it is pretty scary.
It is when you're a kid, I suppose.
I used to be scared shitless in this house. It's
Yeah?
too big, too dark, too scary, too cold.
Yeah, I get that.
Too many doors that creak, and
God knows what's behind them.
6 months of the year is dark.
Well,
and
Will is scared shitless to go sleep in his bedroom by himself.
yeah, but his sisters are not. So
Yeah.
so that's just kind of Will.
Well, I don't know. Zora says that she's scared sometimes. Sometimes she plays and suddenly she realizes she's scared. Yeah.
I had to break up at least 3 fights last night.
It was, I told you yesterday, it was crazy. Jasmine was just at it all bloody day, ever since the morning.
What do you mean at it?
She was, I don't know if she hadn't slept very well or what the problem was, but she was not a happy chappy, as your dad would say.
Happy chappy.
You know how she soothes
Lovely
herself by drinking milk? Yeah, that's her like calm down thing.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Well, she drank like half a liter of milk last morning because...
Last morning.
Yes.
Yesterday morning.
Yes, yesterday morning. Because she just... Oh, she was... I don't know. She kept crying for everything.
I think it's because she didn't get a giant unicorn.
No, I don't think it's because of that. I think maybe she had too much stimulation the day before and maybe she didn't have a proper sleep and she was just not a happy chappy.
I was not happy with the babkas last night. Because Jazz went in and joined them.
Uh-huh.
And she like pulled up a chair herself, sat down, and then she said, "Hi guys, how are you all?" And they completely ignored her.
Yeah.
They completely ignored her. And it wasn't like they were talking about anything else. They just completely ignored her, didn't answer her.
Yeah.
And I thought they were really rude.
Oh, wow.
Because of that, they're not used to children communicating like adults.
No, they're old school. You know, they think that the generation that thinks that children should be seen, not heard.
Or even not seen and not heard.
Yeah.
Perhaps.
Yeah.
Yes, well, as long as they keep taking their meds. I'm sure that they'll be fine and they'll live forever and
you know, I've got
die.
that thing as well.
What,
It's
living forever?
terrible. It's really terrible. It's something that I learned from my parents because that's something that my parents would do. It's just one of those automatic reactions that you kind of inherit from your own upbringing. And that's the tendency to apologize for my children existing.
What?
The tendency
why
to
would-
apologize
why
for
would
my
you do
children
that?
existing. It's I just told you why. Did you not listen?
What you said you have a tendency to do something, but I'm not
Yes,
sure
I
what's
said
behind that.
well, I just told you what's behind it. I said it's one of those inherited reactions from your own upbringing.
Yeah, that doesn't explain it though. I mean, just it doesn't explain why. I mean, saying it's inherited is just like
That's why, because because when I was a kid, that's what people did. When I was a kid, that's what adults did around me when I was a
what
kid.
they hid.
No, that would like if I as a kid, yes, disturbed the adults in their adult conversations,
Which is what kids should be doing.
and I just like stuck to someone, like Will stuck to Fletcher, right? And he kept talking to Fletcher all the time. If I stuck to someone and just kept bothering them, my mother would apologize for me. She would, she would be like, "Oh, sorry," and she would tell me, "Okay, go and play," because we want to have our adult conversations, and she would be like, "Don't bother the adults," or whatever. I remember that as a kid, I used to go and visit a crazy woman. She was
What?
not as crazy back then as she is now, but
But she was. You just didn't realize it.
maybe because I was a kid. She was a bit kid-like. Anyway, there was this crazy woman who used to live near my grandfather's house, and we just loved going to visit her with my brother because we could watch telly and eat ice cream, and she was quite fun, and we talked to her as well and stuff. And I remember that my mom wasn't very happy. She's like, "Don't go there all the time. You're bothering her." It's just like, I don't know. It's like the adults tell you that you're bothering the other adults just by wanting to interact with them. So I've got the tendency to react. If I don't think about it, if it's like automatic, yeah, I've got the tendency to react in the same way. Like I would give the adults apologetic smiles, It'd just be like, hang in there. Hang in there. Never mind my kid talking to you for 2 hours. Where it should be, I shouldn't do that. I mean, it's obviously good for the kid because they're learning, and if the adult has something else to do, they can always politely apologize and say, "Okay, thank you very much for talking to you, Will, but I've got something else to do right now. I will see you later." Right? So,
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that a lot of kids have those kinds of experiences where they want to interact, but their parents get in the way,
uh-huh.
and they don't see the value in it.
Because their parents want to interact. But then, I mean, I get it, right? I mean, I get it. If you have a friend and you invite the friend over because you want to talk about things, then, and your kids kind of take over, you may want to get your conversation back. But you can always respectfully say to the child, "Thanks for joining us. We would now like to continue talking about something else. Is that okay?"
I would give $1 million to have audio or video of my childhood experiences.
No, you wouldn't, because you don't have $1 million.
Okay, then I would give something, anything, everything, whatever. I don't know what I'd give. Sell myself, sell my future. I don't know, whatever. I would love to have recordings of the conversations I had with friends. I would love to have recordings of the questions I asked teachers. I would love to have video of my football match. I would love to have all of that stuff to analyze, not to overanalyze, but just to help with understanding, to help jog memories, to help understand. Because the photograph is, the photograph is much better than nothing, right, in terms of capturing those moments. But if you could actually go back and understand or listen to your own thought processes to see what you did and why it was important to you, to know why, to understand the thinking process of why you bought this music album rather than that music album, to see the joy of the Christmas present that you got that you forgot about, or any of those moments, to have a bit of conversation and reasoning to understand the logic of the communication, the skills that you had and that maybe you developed or maybe you lost, or just to have some perspective. That's actually one of the reasons why I'm recording all this content and putting it out, because if ever at some point in the future the kids want to reflect back on their experiences, because life is full of so many experiences that your brain basically has to, the conscious mind basically has to dump, although we can generally assume that everything remains in the subconscious or unconscious areas. Just to have that as a point of reflection, I think in terms of education is a billion times more educational than a history book or something like that about somebody else's life somewhere else. The ability to reflect on your own experiences and see how people communicated with you, because then that helps inform you of how your communication patterns developed, because you get to see, oh, that's where I picked that up from, or that's where I got those phrases from, or that's how I developed that idea. Now you can say that maybe that'll never ever be important and it doesn't really matter, but if you don't have that option, you never know. If that data doesn't, if the data does not exist, then the data can never be used, and you can never know if the data is going to be useful. So you have to create the data in the first place, even to give people the choice of rejecting it. It's like it's as simple as what businesses do with special offers. They create various different little special offers, just to give people the opportunity sometimes to reject it, because you need that concept of choice there. You need it to exist in order to choose direction or to understand. And I think that having that information is, from a scientific perspective, and I'm not saying life is a science, or I'm not saying it ever needs to be, but it's there. It's there. And I think that that's invaluable to most people, especially when they'll get to a point, say age 30 to 40, where they maybe want to reflect on some things, and their life has been full of so many experiences that they can't remember a lot of stuff that happened. I'd like to have conversation. I'd like to have recordings of conversations that I had in the car with my parents as we went somewhere about some irrelevant thing, just to see what that irrelevant thing was, just to remember what that irrelevant thing was. I'd like to have conversations about maybe to help me even remember positive stuff that I forgot that other people did for me, or maybe even that I helped them with. I don't know. I'd like to have recordings of conversations with my friends to see what we talked about and what was important to us. Not to overanalyze, just to help remember. I think all of that stuff is useful, and then because it's useful, is applicable in terms of understanding. I just think it's really, really, really important to have those records.
Well, I think it would be nice and interesting to have that information available, but I don't think it's really, really important, because I think that everything that's really important, I think that everything is already in. You just need to access it.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that, but I think we need help.
Yes.
Right. It's like
Yes, we need
getting to
that.
the local town is it's not a bad thing to do, but having a car to get there is fantastic.
Yes,
So
but
yeah.
first thing that's the most important is having the how do you say it? Inside setup.
Yeah, but
You
that's what I'm getting to. You can't understand the inside setup fully until you have the those analysis skills, like
No,
all
that's not what
scientific.
I meant. I meant first you have to be willing to go there, and you have to be
No,
capable of understanding.
wait,
That's
wait,
why you can't analyze
wait.
these things when you're
I have
like
to
18, because
I
you're not
have to
capable of
I have to disagree.
objectively understanding.
I have to disagree. And I know that it's really important. You said that first you have to
Uh-huh.
be, was it able or willing or whatever to go there?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes, both.
Yeah. See, I completely disagree with that. I think that's second. I don't think that's first. I think that's the second thing.
I think you can have as much material in the world as you want, unless you want and feel the need to look for connections, to look for logic.
Yeah, I get it.
Then you can just look at the material and say, oh yeah, that was nice, and it's not going to help you
Yeah,
at all.
but I think that you're missing the important point I want to make, which is you need choice. You need options. And if you don't have the material in existence, you don't have the opportunity to say no to it and not look at it and decide that it's not important for you.
Yes, but it's still an extra. It's not a need.
Well, I think it's actually a fundamentally essential human need to have it. See, that's where I
So
disagree.
how did the humanity survive until this point?
Well, it didn't. That's what caused all the wars.
It didn't. Humanity didn't survive.
No, it didn't, because it had wars. I mean, more people. It's like more people were.
Did you just say humanity didn't survive?
It didn't up to now. It absolutely did not survive up to
So
now.
what are you doing here?
Because more people. I'm saying humanity didn't survive. I'm not saying humans didn't survive. I'm saying.
Well, that's what I mean.
Listen. I haven't finished my sentence, so you don't know where I'm going. Okay. So you have to wait till I finish my point to explain where I'm going. Let me explain. Humanity didn't survive up to now. It constantly tried to annihilate itself. And all the terrible wars of history are examples of that. It's like more. I think if you study the 20th century, it's like more people in the first half of the 20th century, more people were killed than were born. Right? I mean, it was just massive annihilation from Indonesia to Africa to China to Russia to Europe. Sort of North America was the only place that basically survived without trying to annihilate itself. And
You're
that's
talking
dead.
about obviously not talking about Native Americans, right?
Yeah. I was actually going to talk about that. If you'd let me finish making my point, I was going to talk about that. So, in the 20th century, the exception was North America. I was pre-20th century, it wasn't like that there, because of their policies for the native tribes and groups of people, and also for their civil wars. And the states were constantly warring against each other, which is something that people forget. So,
warring, is that a
warring, yeah,
is that a verb?
it actually is. Yeah, it actually is.
Okay.
Yeah, it's also used as an adjective. The warring nations, for example.
Okay.
Yeah. So, could you not do that with your phone cover?
Why?
Because I know where Will gets his fidgeting from now.
Does it disturb you?
It does. you spinning the telephone cover around your finger like it's a helicopter. um,
Well, get me a fucking fidget spinner and I'll stop.
you had fidget spinners. What did you do with them?
I spun them too much.
They broke. You span them so much. Spun?
Spun them too much. They flew off to the universe and stayed in the what'd you call it?
I don't know what you're talking about. Your fidgets. You lost your fidget spinners in the universe somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. So what I'm saying about humanity is that humanity basically didn't survive up to now because the tragedy of history is the repetition of error. And people didn't have the self-reflection and self-analysis skills to understand the errors they were making. And the rather horrible and simple example of this is child abuse. That, hurt people, right? People who were hurt by their parents as children.
Yes, but my point is, G, that you don't need fucking video of it. You know, as a person.
Yeah, wait, but it's so nice to have that option. Okay, let me give you another example, right? And this is so obvious, I don't think we can argue with this. You can try and argue with it. I don't think you can, right? I was listening to an interview with Kobe Bryant, who was one of the top NBA players. He's maybe considered like the top 10 all time, right? Well, I say all time because they progress in terms of skills. So it's definitely the last 10 years, one of the top 10 basketball players. And he's not just a basketball player. He's not just like a sport kind of guy. And I think when you get to the top level, you have to be, kind of good in more areas. You have to be you have to have business acumen. You have to have the right mindset. You have to have the right approach.
Right to the point.
Yeah. And he was talking about, or he was asked, how do you improve your skills? When you get to your level, how do you stay good and then improve and get even better? Yeah. And he said that the single most important thing for him was videos of the games that he played, where he could take the videos, and he did every single game that he played. After the game, he watched the whole game, and you imagine like a basketball game's got, oh my God, what's it? Is it 4 periods of 15 minutes that extend out because of breaks, and it takes like three hours or something like that to play the whole game, right? And it's roughly, yeah.
Yeah, well, if it's your job, I mean, okay.
Yeah, but wait, you're completely missing the point.
Yes.
How many people do you know who have jobs that spend 3 hours in deep self-analysis of the minute details of their own actions in the job to make themselves better? I say it's less than 1%, right? It's maybe even less than 1% of 1%, right? And that is the skill that makes the best of the best even better. This ability to have this external observation. And he said that you can talk to a manager, you can talk to a coach, you can talk to other people who can tell you what happened, but unless you have these videos, and he said specifically what's called the arena video, which is just like there's one camera that films the whole game happening, and it's not like like you switch cameras when the TV's watching it or whatever. It's one camera where you can see where everybody's moving and what everybody's doing and whatever. And he said it's that gives him the ability to understand where he is, what he's doing, where everyone else is, what they're doing, and to make corrections and improvements.
Yes,
and he said it was that skill that got him where he is. And he said everyone else that he knows in the game who is the best of the best does that. He said there's nobody who doesn't do that. And he said every single game now, when you've got a a it's like a 7-game thing, right? You go and play a team, and it's like, like the ice hockey's home and away, right? There's the home game and then the away game, and it's always a set in the series, right?
Okay.
So it's not like football where you play like 1 game a week, maybe 2, right? These guys are playing sometimes 5, 6 games a week, right? And then he goes through the analysis of watching the entire game, and not just watching the entire game, stopping it. So it takes about 6 to 8 hours to review each game. And that's what he does after each game in order to understand everything that's happening. And if those videos did not exist, there would be no way for that in-depth self-analysis to take place. And the fact the videos exist give people the option to go to it, view it, and review it.
Yes, but
and they don't have to, but it makes it better.
Yes, but you just proved my point, G.
No, I didn't.
That in the first place, there is that want of the person to go and analyze
No,
it.
the data has to exist first. You can't say that. You can't want something that does not exist. You have to create the data first, and then you create the option of using it or not. It's like buying a computer, right? After you've bought the computer, you can then choose to use it or to not use it. But you have to buy it first. You have to give yourself that opportunity. Once you've bought the car, you can choose to use it or not use it. Once you've created the data, you can choose to use it or not use it. But you have to create the data first, even if you don't know that you're going to use it. It's a fundamental principle. It's like buying ingredients for cooking, right? If you don't have the ingredients, you can't cook what you need to cook. You have to buy the ingredients first. And the data is the ingredients of life. You have to have that data set there. You have to have the information in place. Now you can argue that the data already exists within your own mind, but life is so complex that finding the right stuff at the right time, you can't be sure about it. And take that example of the basketball player in the basketball game. There's no way that any kind of personal self-reflection is going to give him that external objective perspective about what he was doing, what everyone else was doing at the same time, so that they can see the gaps, the spaces, the mistakes, the mismatches, how everything adds up together. You have to create the data first to give yourself the opportunity to say no to it. But you have to create the opportunities first. Then you can say, I don't want it. And that's fine, because it's there to say no to. But if you don't create the data first, there's absolutely no option. And there's the worst thing in the world would be turning around later on saying, I wish I'd created it. I wish I'd put more effort in. I wish I'd done it.
It's not the worst thing in the world. It's the normal thing in the world. It's what everybody does.
Then everybody does.
Everybody has regrets about things.
Then everybody's missing out. Everybody's missing out when that happens.
Have you never turned around and said, I wish I had done something else? Or
I'm not talking about I wish I had... Listen, I'm not talking about I wish I had done something else. I'm talking about creating a record of data that can be useful, that exists for people if they need it. Right? I'm not talking about, regretting a choice or an action. I wish I'd done something else at some point in time. I'm talking about creating an opportunity for people that's there if they need it, which otherwise there's no way. There's no way to go back in time and record it again. There's no way to go back in time and take a picture again. There's no way to do that. If you find yourself in the future wishing you'd done more in the past, you're fucking screwed.
I just don't know. I don't have that same kind of... it's definitely nice to have videos and to have pictures.
It's more than definitely nice. It's absolutely essential. There's no other way to know what was verifiably true, because the mind plays tricks on us. There's no way to know. The mind plays tricks on us.
Yes, there is a way to know.
There's no way to know. There is no way to know, because the mind plays tricks on us. If somebody said, remember that bicycle you had when you were 5 years old, and I'd be like, flicking through the pages of my mind trying to remember if it was blue or green or red or how high the seat was.
You don't need to remember that. That's my point.
People do need to remember these
It's
things.
like
Yeah,
the
but
flashpoint.
you're picking a small point in a big sphere because you're saying you don't need to remember the color of your bike. Yeah, I'm not talking about the color of my bike. I'm talking about
You are
the
actually.
human I'm not. I'm talking about. I'm giving you a simple example of a process of understanding human interaction. Right? I was using the color of the bike as a very simple example from my own life, but I'm not talking about the color of the bike. You have to understand I'm talking about human interactions. It's not the color of the bike that's important. It's having the ability to go back and remember those things with clarity, because if it's left to my own mind, I can't remember what color it was, but if I've got the picture and the video of it, it's very clear what color it was. We need those things, and then everybody's mind would be playing tricks on them in a different way, and everybody would end up arguing. You know what one of the greatest books ever created was, and I don't want it to be the greatest book ever created, but it is.
The Bible?
No, it's a great book, but it's not what I'm talking about, right? This book prevented and stopped so many fights and arguments. It's unbelievable, right? And it's a silly book. It's the Guinness Book of World Records. Now, you know how many people used to, you can imagine how many people used to sit in pubs, talk about something and argue over, let's just take what's the fastest speed record for a car, or how far can someone throw a javelin, or whatever, with the data sets of things, the oldest tree in the world, or whatever else, right? People used to just fucking argue and argue and argue and argue and argue, and they never got anywhere, and it was fun to argue. Don't take that away from it, right? It was fun to argue and debate it, but they never got anywhere, because nobody knew who was right, and way back when the internet didn't exist, so that was impossible. So
the Dark Ages.
So the Dark Ages, like 20 years ago, right? Basically, yeah. So way back when, people didn't know, and the adults didn't know, and the kids didn't know, and kids would ask their parents, and the parents would be like, "I don't fucking know," right? And only if you had your Encyclopedia Britannica or whatever else, and you bought the 12 volumes or whatever, you had some kind of knowledge, but nobody was. Yeah, people didn't have the time or the inclination to do that, because that would mean get in a car and get in a bus and go across town. Look, some people.
I spent my entire childhood in the library.
That was probably escapism, though. So. Look, could you please just understand the point that I want to make, which is the Guinness Book of World Records? Because this guy, it was an Irish guy, and his name was Mick Werter. I remember his name, and he got sick and tired of all of the stupid arguments that occurred because nobody had the information, because nobody had the data. That he went and collected all of the data and all of the information and put it into one book and published the book. And this book was an example of what I'm talking about, which was it was there if people needed it. So if people were like, well, what is the what is the I don't know, the fastest a plane has ever flown, or what's the biggest land mass or the smallest island or whatever else, and people could go to the book and they could open up the book and they could find out. The book was there if they needed it. They didn't use it all the time because they didn't need to, but it was there if they needed it. And also made a really cool Christmas present for kids. and that's that ability, and that's an example of societal self-analysis, where you collect data from society, and people know what the sets of data are, and they can use it. That's the principle of a lot of what I disagree with a lot of the time, but you still have to respect it. All those professors in universities collecting all this data and information. It's like, is it even fucking useful? You could argue a lot of it probably not, but if the other argument is if the data is not there, then we can never use it, then we can never know. And you never know exactly which piece of data is going to be that one element that changes everything. And so it's very, very necessary to have records. Businesses couldn't function without records. And people tend to forget, that people need to run, in essence, elements of their personal life the same way that businesses are run. I'm not saying personal life is a business, I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is that the organization is important. The same way that a business is organized, certain elements of personal life and family life should also be organized as well. Which is the one single thing that I respect my mother for. The one single thing that I respect my mother for is her ability to organize those elements and her understanding of them. Now, she's very bad at communicating about it, and she's very bad at passing on that information, but she has set it up well for herself. Now, at the end of the day, it only matters what you transfer to other people, not what you set up for yourself. But you have to set it up for yourself first, but it's not the complete journey, because the complete journey is the transfer at the end. But I respect that about her. And so it's important to have that data there to go back if you need it, because we need reinforcement through self-assessment in order to have improvement.
2 words. Historical bias.
Well, that doesn't change anything that I said. Historical bias exists, I agree.
You are not recording me and you arguing. You're not recording you scolding Will for doing something stupid.
I wish I was.
You are not.
I wish I was.
You are only recording
I wish
the
I was.
happy times.
No, look, when we did this 3 weeks ago, we had the big debate about pink hair.
Okay.
Right? And that was a debate where I think you had the better argument. And I think that I don't see it as win and lose. If I was, pushed to say who won and who lost the debate, I would say that you won. And I went back and because you were like, I want to have pink hair, and you were like, for certain reasons, and I was like, I don't think it's good for certain reasons. And I think that you had a better argument than me there, right? And you're like, oh, well, naturally I had a better argument. Yeah, but it's only my ability to self-assess. And I went back and I listened to the whole thing again. Yeah. I went back and I analyzed it, and I analyzed my thought processes. I didn't analyze yours because I don't know why you think what you think. Okay, only you know why you think what you think. So I got an idea, but I can never be sure if it's right. I can only sort of be sure about my own perspective, and that was very helpful and very important. And that's why I actually want to record more of those elements and more of those moments that are negative for myself, because I don't think that you can get much. I don't think you can learn much from recording yourself when you're happy about what it is that you're doing. I think you can
That's my point.
I think you can only learn when you push yourself to understand why it is you're uncomfortable with something.
Because to understand my point, I think that we are already naturally, that's how brain works, yes? You record the good stuff in your brain, and the brain tries to dismiss the bad stuff. That's why people have problems getting back to the roots of their problems, because the brain tries to forget about those things to keep you going, basically, right? It's the survival mode.
Yeah, but it's also erasure.
It's the coping mechanisms of the human organism. Yeah, if you want to survive, you have to keep going. If you want to keep going, you sometimes have to dissociate, for example. Yeah, or you just have to put those bad things in a wee little drawer so that you can keep on going. And you can only access the good things. Yeah, and it's very often like that with the recordings. I mean, you're not going to take the phone out in the middle of a heated argument to record it. Yeah, you're going to take the phone out when the kids are having good fun, or when during a birthday party, or when you're being on a nice journey, or
well,
that's how
you have to remember that
you
have to remember that I do actually record myself when there are negative situations, right? So I don't know quite what you're talking about there, but I mean, with the exception of where it's just totally impractical to do it, I record myself in those negative, as many of those situations which are potentially negative as possible.
Not in an authentic manner, Jay.
What do you mean not in an authentic manner?
We can look. You can.
I don't know what's going to come out of a conversation when I start recording.
You can press the record button, but by pressing the record button, you're already beginning to interact in a different way with a person because you are aware of the fact that you're being recorded.
Oh, absolutely. Yes, I totally agree. That's an issue that people have to deal with. I don't think there's any way around knowing that you're being recorded or not knowing. I think, the greatest form of self-assessment is probably in not knowing you're being recorded. But I'm saying that totally, most of that doesn't apply to me because I'm already trying to, and have been for many years, trying to find another way. And without having somebody follow you around and record you, it's really it's almost impossible.
Yeah, well, that's my point. That exactly proves my point that you are. I'm not saying that it's a bad thing to get some material right, but you're not getting unbiased, objective material.
But you're getting as much as you can. You're getting what you can. I totally agree. It's absolutely impossible to get, absolutely unbiased material.
You're not going to record it when you like stumble back home from the pub half drunk and very pissed off, and then you unload on your wife or something, right? It's not. Do you know what I mean? I mean, you can record an argument and then control yourself while having it and being very aware of being recorded, but you're not going to record those things that create.
I want those things to be
problems.
Recorded. I actually want those things to be recorded.
Yeah, that's great, but it's not going to happen.
But I'm working towards it. See, it's not going to happen. See, your statement of it's not going to happen is actually, it's not going to happen to me because it's not interesting for me to do that. And that's not me, okay? Me is I actually want that, and I'm working as much as I can towards doing that because I think all of that is really important. And your idea of, well, you're not going to do that, it's like, I fucking wish that I'd done that through the ages of 20 to 30. I think that I would be in a far better place today if I'd had the ability to self-assess between the ages of 20 and 30 and say, less social madness, more self-awareness. And I think I'd be in a far better place today if I'd had those skills.
You couldn't have those skills. Because that's how we progress.
Okay, wait, but wait, that doesn't mean that I don't know that it couldn't have been better. And knowing that gives you impetus to move forward, to realize you could be even further forward than you are now at this point. So you better, I tell myself I better get my shit together in order to keep moving forward. That if I'd had those self-assessment techniques earlier in my life, if I discovered them, if I developed them, if I'd found people who'd been able, who could share that with me, if I'd find coaches, tutors, mentors, whatever, who'd been able to help me with that, then that would have made a giant improvement in my life. And I'm not sad or regretting the fact that I can't go back in time and do it. I'm realizing that, well, it's better late than never.
I'm with Flash on this. I'm with Flash on this.
What, you're a bright light.
Yeah. You've got what you've got, and you have to deal with what you've got. You know?
Too easy. Too simple. It's very simple. I'm not saying it's wrong.
It is simple.
Look, I'm not saying it's wrong. It's extremely simple, but it ignores other elements.
I think you have what you need. I think everyone has what they need to be able to assess with help.
That's what I'm saying. I'm creating a resource of help, which is the ability to get some more objective perspective. How else can you know what is said in a conversation objectively if it's not recorded?
This has just been one big monologue by you today. I can't even get a freaking word in.
I just finished my sentence there. And now you're complaining you can't get a word in because...
Oh no, because you've just been ranting all bloody hour.
I've been presenting a perspective.
Yeah, well, I forgot what I was going to say.
Well, you wanted me to stop in the middle of a sentence, and I just wanted to finish the sentence. All I wanted to do was finish the thought.
You already have, my point is, you already have all that information in your head, G.
Yeah, look,
what you need
all
to
science...
change. Can I fucking finish my sentence, please? I'm really getting pissed off now here. Because I'm trying to say something and you just keep talking over me. All you need is to change the perspective. You have the information in your head, okay? All you need is the change of perspective. All you need is to see the new connections. You can look at your videos all you want, unless somebody helps you. That's what I mean by help. I don't mean having more material. By help, I mean somebody helping you to make the connections, somebody helping you to see different perspectives, because you're stuck in your world. Yes, you're stuck in your way of thinking. You're stuck in whatever those pictures that you went through in your childhood, whatever little cage in your mind they created, right? You're stuck in that and you need to get out of that. But looking at those pictures, yes, or videos or whatever, can definitely, absolutely, yes, help you get some insight, but you also need something else. You also need something that will spark that interest. You need something that will help you make the connections. You need something that will get you a different perspective on what you're looking at, because you have been looking at it your entire life. The problem is that you only ever had one perspective, right? So that's why I would say it is more important to go to a freaking psychotherapist and discuss things with them, because they can give you perspective rather than sitting by yourself looking through pictures of your childhood, because you can never because you are limited in your perceptions of those things.
I think that that's very important, what you said. I also think that it brings up the same problem, which is your therapist can only base their work on the information that you give them.
That's what they're trained for. They don't see only the information that you're giving them cognitively by saying it. Yes, if you go and you say, hello, my mother hates me, they don't hear, hello, my mother hates me. They can understand things that might be behind you saying that. They can understand that it might be true, it might not be true.
Yeah, I think that's not the point I want to make.
They can make the connections.
That's not the point I want to make. See, I don't... That's logical and I don't disagree with that, but the therapist can only base their actions on the information that you give them. Either consciously, unconsciously, or subconsciously.
Yes, but you give them plenty of information. You give them all the information they need if they're a good psychotherapist.
But wait. the resource that I'm talking about creating feeds into all of that, because what if the information that you give the therapist is incorrect?
That's what I'm telling you, G. They can tell. If they're a good psychotherapist, they can tell. Yes? I can go to my psychotherapist and I can say, hello, I've got this terrible husband, partner, or whatever, because he's like this and this and this and this. Yes? But what they're getting from me is not that I have a terrible partner. What they're getting from me is, okay, I see this woman who has probably had some problems in the childhood, which is probably of this character, because they already know that, because they have studied that, because she exhibits signs of not trusting her husband with something, right? As an example.
I agree.
So you are giving them, you are saying about 3% of the information that they are getting from you the moment you step in the room. Right? And you cannot give them unless...
Well, I don't understand that 3% thing. Explain that.
It's not scientifically proven statistics, okay? But
But I don't understand it.
but that's just my way of saying that you can come and you can think that you're giving them all the information you want to give them. But you are giving them much more information through your body language, through the use of vocabulary, through your emotional reactions to their stimuli. You can, and you don't know about this unless you actually study it, unless you're some kind of freakish weirdo who studies these things so that they can fool the psychiatrist into thinking that you've got something, that you are in a certain way. Then if you're just a normal, usual person who doesn't know much about these matters, then you're not going to fool your psychotherapist, or you're not going to give them the wrong information because they assess you generally in a complex way. They're not just assessing what you're saying.
Yeah, I know that, and I have known that for many years, and I don't disagree with that. I think
that if you came to a good psychotherapist that had, say, I don't know, maybe 10 meetings with you or whatever, yeah, and you brought recorded material from your childhood and you showed it to them, they would look at it and they would say, well, it doesn't surprise me, I already know that.
Yeah, but see, I think that would be, unless the therapist asked for that, that would be a bit of a silly thing to do, I think.
Why would it be a silly thing to do? That would be what I would, well, if I had anything, then I may have done it with mine, Yeah,
but you can't because you don't. So that's what I'm saying. Is that
yes,
what I'm doing gives people the opportunity to say no.
Yes, but I don't. I know at the
but
same time.
But what other people are doing doesn't give them any opportunity at all.
I know at the same time that I don't have to do it because she already knows.
Yeah, that's a lazy attitude.
It's not a lazy attitude.
It is.
It's a fact.
It's an irresponsible attitude.
Oh, that's...
It's a fact, it's irresponsible, and it's lazy.
It's not irresponsible and lazy if I know that she already knows.
It is, because people could try harder.
Is it irresponsible and lazy if I don't tell you that the sun is shining?
People could try harder to be involved in the process of self-assessment. That's the point I want to make. It's got nothing to do with the sun shining. People could try harder. They could do more. They could reflect more. If they wanted, they could put a little bit more effort into
Look, I think I've put a lot. I think I've put a lot of effort into self-assessment in the last half a year, and saying that it's lazy and irresponsible seems a bit off to me. But whatever.
Well, that's my experience with people. My experience with people is that most people are lazy and irresponsible, and that not all people, but the majority are. They are not interested in any kind of self-assessment. They're not interested in any kind of progress.
Yeah, we were talking about me not showing materials to my therapist, though.
I was talking about anyone
Call that
I was
being lazy and irresponsible.
yeah yeah. Well, my argument has a logical process through it. Yeah, that choosing to depend upon external influences is it's nice to have that choice, but maybe that choice only exists because of work that people didn't put into their past, and so yeah, relying on a therapist is it's nice to have a therapist there. It's like relying on a coach if you're doing sport, right? It's nice to have the coach there, or the trainer there, or the manager there. But your success in life is predicated upon what you do, not what they say.
Well, obviously, you wouldn't even look for the therapist if you didn't, in the first place, try to, solve your problems.
Absolutely.
Just like you wouldn't look for a coach if you want to become a professional basketball player, but you cannot become a professional basketball player without a coach.
Absolutely. You need a support network.
There you go.
You need a support network.
Yes.
And you can help your support network by providing them with as much information as possible that is factually accurate. And the only way to be factually accurate is to record data, and to have that data assessed by not just yourself, but by other people as well, so that you can take a scientific approach to the information.
Oh, I don't need to do that. I don't want to do that. I don't like to do that. If you want to do that, do that. Record data, by all means. Do the scientific thing. I'm just gonna...
I think that's the only way to progress.
I'm just gonna do things and do them the best I can. Because I know that is what is going to influence the children the most. Is it going to help them to be able to look back at videos of their childhood? Probably, yes. Yes.
I think it's going to be absolutely essential in the future.
But I will leave that up to you, okay?
Yeah, I think it's going to be absolutely essential.
Because I'm going to focus on all the little things that I'm already doing that need to be focused on, so... There you go.
I get that. It's like there's those the secret of rich and successful families, family archives, family councils, all these things that people don't talk about that make a big difference, right? The family archives, the one place where there are all the resources about the family members, and what happened where, and who did what. It's really, really important. The family council, the ability to meet with other people in the family in order to make decisions that support the networks that exist. These are extremely important elements.
I think we're just different in this. You've got that kind of professional type of drive that drives you to perform 100% on all fronts.
120. 100 is not enough.
Sorry, 119.
120. 100 is not enough. It's just not enough.
Exactly. I don't have that, and I'm quite happy without having that. So I guess we're always going to differ on that, in that area. You know, I don't need to have the most rich and successful family type thing going on. I'm just quite happy if everybody stays sane and undamaged.
Yeah, but look at that from a Maslow's hierarchical perspective. And I'm not saying Maslow is the be all and end all, right? But I'm saying that's a marker, yeah. And what you're talking about there is the first tier, the foundation, which is really important. But it's only the foundation, and there's many more levels to get through.
Yeah, so which levels did I not cover?
Well, you only covered the foundation.
Well, I think the foundation is the biological factors.
There are also social and environmental factors there as well.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, look,
yeah.
of course I want the children to be happy and to be able to express themselves, and that all comes with it. Obviously, I don't think it's only important to keep their biological functions going, okay? Obviously, I know the importance of fulfillment in life and of being able to do things that you find give sense to your life and whatever else. But that's what I mean. I mean, I don't need to. I don't need to try to achieve the perfect family or to try to achieve to become one of the successful families or whatever you called them in the conversation before. Because for me, success is everybody feeling fulfilled, everybody being able to use their gifts to their satisfaction, and everybody to be able to use their gifts to help others. I mean, my goal is to teach the kids empathy and compassion and how to take care of themselves emotionally, and that's just what's important for me right now. You know, if they want to become bartenders because they love it, then I want them to become bartenders. You know? That is my goal in this family. And I feel like putting the work into it right now is more important for me than recording it and assessing it and getting better. I'm don't know, because I know that I'm going to make mistakes, and I think that my children can learn from my mistakes. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, they probably learn more from what you get right. So.
Yes.
From
But
the positive examples.
Well, obviously, but my point is that I just don't feel that kind of hard push, that kind of hard internal push to perform. Yes, I want to do the right things for my kids, but I want to enjoy things while doing them.
Yeah, I also think it's necessary to perform in life, and I don't mean to not enjoy things. What I mean is to maximize potential. And
yeah, I think that for me personally, if I had to if I had a system where I have to record things and then store them and then file them and then and write them down and make lists and stuff, that would just absolutely and completely take the life out of me. You know, that would be like the one thing I hate, and I think that it would just steal the joy from whatever I'd be doing with the kids. You know what I mean?
Yeah, when you put it like that, yes, obviously, my aim is to be intelligent enough not to put it like that. Right? If you're saying, doing this would suck the life out of me because blah, 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 then I'm like, yes, it would suck the life out of anybody. That's why you have to do it intelligently. Right? You have to do it in a way, because it is difficult, that's why it would suck the life out of people, because it is difficult. It is not an easy thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to find a way to do it so that it doesn't suck the life out of people, so that it in essence does does the opposite, or you have to moderate it or limit it or channel it in certain ways. So
Well, I've tried before and I failed multiple times, and I just don't. That's just because I don't enjoy it. I think it's as simple as that. I think it all just comes down to the fact that if you genuinely don't like doing something, you're going to fail at it.
No, because let's take example of taxes, right? Neither of us like doing the tax stuff very much, but we're definitely determined not to fail at it because of the consequences. So consequences are important.
Well, doing your taxes is easy though.
Okay, let's pick another example. You've complained about invoices.
Yes.
Okay, so let's just say invoices are absolutely necessary and a complete pain in the ass.
Yes.
But we know that if we don't do it, we don't get to enjoy things.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. But recording shit and filing it is not absolutely necessary for me. It's just not. It's nowhere near
Well, here's my
the
point.
necessity level of invoices.
Yeah. Yes, but here's my point. I, from my experiences, don't think that we ever really fully understand what is happening to us when it's happening. I think we have an idea about, like when you have an idea, you don't know how good your idea is. You might know that it's a good idea, but it might be an amazing idea. But you only think that it's good. You don't know at the time. Or you might think it's an amazing idea, and you might do something with it, or you might not. Or maybe it's a bad idea. But the point.
Get to the point.
But the point is, that you don't know at the time. You only know over time if that idea was as good as you thought it was or not. And maybe it is a great idea, but you're not able to execute on it. Or maybe it's a bad idea, but you have excellent execution on it, and it turns it into a good idea. You don't know.
What's your point?
And so you can never really judge the value of the moment completely, totally accurately, because we're not quite sure how important it is. Like say you meet somebody, and it might be somebody you meet for 5 seconds and you never meet them again. It might be somebody you meet for 5 seconds and then you meet again, and it might take on more importance. You don't know at any point in time how important something is. And the self-analysis, the data related to the self-analysis, gives you an opportunity to understand the importance of things.
Yes,
because you get to see what continues
you don't
and what doesn't.
forget the important things that form you. You don't forget meeting that person if that person made a change in your life.
Yeah, you also never know how important something is.
Well, you will find out later in life.
One of
hopefully.
one of the most watched videos, or two of the most watched videos of the 20th century, right? Two of the most watched videos. And I'm assuming they're the most watched because they're the most dramatic or important, right? Two of the most watched videos.
Let me guess. One of them is The Lion King.
No.
No?
No.
Okay.
One is the Zapruder film of Kennedy's head being blown off, right?
That's a bit grim. Okay.
Well, it's a fact. I'm sorry, but it's a fact, right? Now, he just happened to be in that place at that point in time making that film.
Mm-hmm.
Right? If he hadn't made that film, people wouldn't know that Kennedy was shot from the front, not the back. Because it's the evidence that's analysed in that film that shows that he was shot from the front, not the back. And that Oswald didn't kill him. Right. Second film is Roger Bannister's 4 Minute Mile. The BBC just happened to have cameras at that event on that day to film Roger Bannister running the first under 4 minute mile.
Yeah, that's kind of their job to do that, right?
Yeah, but they didn't know at the time. They didn't know at the time he was going to break the record. They didn't know, right? They were just experimenting, and they were putting cameras in different places where things might happen, and they
Is
were.
his name really Roger Bannister?
Yes.
That's unfortunate.
That was a great name. Anyway.
Okay.
Anyway, it's a good name to hold on to. Right. So those films, the people who were making those films at the time didn't realize how important the event was. And because they made those films and recorded those events, they, for some people, changed history, for some people affected their lives, for some people gave them motivation. It was never, people didn't we very rarely appreciate the importance of the moment at the moment. Now, if when we do appreciate the importance of the moment at the moment, which is what, from my understanding, what you're explaining to me, that you're trying to live your life in terms of appreciating the moment. Yeah?
Kind of.
Well, okay, so that's how I understand from what you said, that you're trying to be in the moment and appreciate the moment and enjoy the moment and, you know, react to the moment and do all those things.
That as well, and the point that I think that those formative, to focus during those formative experiences is more important than recording them.
Yes, I agree. I agree. And here's the other thing. Like with Zora's birthday this week, I wanted to take a picture that captured her face when she got the big present.
Mm-hmm.
I also wanted to experience it personally.
Mm-hmm.
But I also wanted to take a photograph that captured that moment, because I didn't want to forget it. And I was worried that there might be so many other moments that maybe that one might slip away. And recording it helps me hold on.
No, I understand. My view is more like that one moment just joins all the other moments in the great mosaic of your memory, and creates a somewhat blurred picture, but one that is complex, and it's there. It's for me easier to access than looking through albums or whatever, if you know what I mean. But don't get me wrong, I think having pictures is great. I think having videos is great, and I love to look at old videos of the kids and think, oh, that's what we used to do, you know?
Well, yeah, I mean, look at the
it's
progression
nice.
of pictures that I put on Facebook of Will sort of growing up. I mean, isn't it nice to go back and look through those pictures and think, oh, I forgot about that moment, or I'll remember that T-shirt, or remember his long hair, or whatever, which otherwise maybe you'd remember it, maybe not. But this way you can be sure that you're not going to forget it.
Yes. I don't view it as essential, but I view it as a nice thing to be able to do.
Yeah, it's not essential, but it can improve quality. And without it, you would never know if it improved quality or not. That's it.
I've watched this video on the internet before. It's that internet woman. She's very famous.
You remember that famous woman on the internet?
Yeah, she's
no, I have no idea who you're talking about.
Kristina Kuzmic is her name.
I have never heard of that name before.
She's very popular mom vlogger. She makes funny videos.
Blogger just sounds like something you put in the toilet.
She makes funny videos, but she also makes very touchy videos. You know, she can touch the point. She can make her point in a very clever way.
I can make a point. It's raining.
And one of the videos, she talks about how when she was a child, she lived in the.
Have you got any coffee left over there?
Somewhere in the Yugoslavia.
Oh, I was thinking about the pot, not the cup.
The Yugoslavia.
You haven't drunk your coffee.
Area. I already drank one cup. And she was talking about the war that was there, and how she had a shrapnel coming through her window into her room, hitting the top of her bed and the shelf that she had behind the bed, and destroying everything. And she just happened not to sleep in her bed that night, but she slept somewhere else with her parents or with a friend.
That was lucky.
She would have been dead, right? And she was talking about how she was very, very upset because she had an album in that shelf that was destroyed, and she said that the only thing that remained, that the album contained all of her photographs from her childhood, and the only thing that remained was just one, like a torn corner of a picture, like one picture of herself when she was like 4 or something, yeah. And even that picture was like half burnt or whatever. And she was talking about how really upset she was about it, and she was a teenager, yeah. And and like her mother told her, you know, you've got all those memories, and you're alive, you know, and you should, you know, you've got friends who lost houses and who lost people that they love, and blah 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 blah, and it was like, get some perspective, blah blah blah. But my point is, you know, you've got those things as long as you're alive, yeah. You've got all those things, because at the end of the day, the pictures and the videos and all that, it's material, yeah, and it's nice to have that material in your life. But in the end of the day, the only thing that you really have is what's in your brain.
You know what? One of my favourite Tracy Chapman songs is, you're going to get it wrong. You're going to guess and you're going to get it wrong.
Your favourite Tracy Chapman song?
Yeah, one of my favourite Tracy Chapman songs, because she's got a lot of good songs.
One of your favourite Tracy Chapman?
Well, just going to repeat the same thing again.
I don't know many of them, okay? I only know like one album, so...
Well, one album's got a lot of songs. That's the album that I recorded for... No, that I put on
Is that going to be... I can't think of anything else other than the Fast Car song.
It's not Fast Car. Oh, that's a great song.
Is that... Sorry.
It's all that you can say. No. No. It doesn't help because it's not on that album. Anyway, it's on the second album.
Ooh.
Dun, dun, dun.
Which one is it then?
All that you have is your soul.
Yeah, exactly.
That's because my mama told me, she said she learned the hard way. All that you have is your soul.
That's true. That's true. At the end of the day, it's all that you have. And my point also is that those pictures can be... now, you are a person who is trying to, as you said, record objective information, yeah? And you wish you would have recorded all those moments that were not as
and I can't
pleasant.
and I can't get the objective information because it's me recording it, and that frustrates me.
Okay, so I should record you next time we fight, should I?
You can record me beating the shit out of you.
Yeah, that would be funny. If it wasn't.
It's not funny.
Not funny.
What?
Yeah.
I'm going to set up the video to record you holding the pads and me punching them. And then me holding the pads and then you punching them. And then I'm going to self-assess my technique and your technique.
Well, that could be fun, actually, yeah.
You see? It applies to all areas of life.
That could be fun, actually.
And I can go, look, you see your body position is wrong there, or, you know, you're hanging.
Look, let me just explain. I've got a lot of pictures of my childhood, yeah? I can look through all of those pictures of my childhood, and none of them is going to help me in any way get any more information about my childhood, get any relevant information about my childhood. I will see what I looked like. I will see what I looked like when I smiled. Maybe I will see myself with a book because I liked to read, or maybe I will see myself in the nature at the cottage because we like to go there. And I can look at those pictures and think, oh yeah, I remember that day. That's the day that I fell into the stream and got all wet and, you know, cold. And I can close my eyes and I can smell that pine forest that was around the old cottage, the chata from hell, where we used to go as the kids. And I can, you know, it helps me access all those memories, but it gives me zero information on the important stuff. It gives me absolutely zero information on the the dynamic that went on in our family. It gives me zero information of my mother's history and her own psychological problems that she went through. It gives me zero information on my relationships with my brother and my sister. It's like irrelevant in that area. Yeah. And that's what I mean. I mean, you can make hundreds of little videos of birthdays and Christmases and first bike rides and nice little trips into the nature and the kids playing with each other and whatever, yeah. But it's not going to give them any information on I don't know if they grow up into being an adult and have some kind of psychological issues because of something that we fucked up, you know. It's not going to give them much information about that because you're not recording the fucked up moments.
Yeah, there's the danger of the Hallmark Christmas card.
It's the historical bias. It's actually the first chapter in those, you know, the Galore Park Junior history books that I bought. The first chapter in the first book is historical bias.
Oh, yeah, the winners rewrite history. Yeah.
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 So
Yeah, it's a problem.
So yeah, it's got a great little example in it. Actually, it shows you 2 letters written by one soldier from the First World War from the trenches. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
One is a letter to his mother, and one is a letter to his friend. And the letter to his mother is like, "Hi, Mom, everything's fine. You know, I'm all safe and warm and sound, and I eat meat 4 times a week, and I eat a lot of cabbage, and you know, it's like everything is cool, and don't worry about us, and everybody welcomed us with flowers and blah blah blah." And the letter to his friend was like, "The trenches are terrible. We're constantly hot or cold. There's a lot of mud. The toilets overflow and they're full of rats, and you know."
Yeah, we have to make coffee from boiling leather boots.
Yeah, exactly. So you have to be careful about not doing the letter to your mother thing.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You know, that's why it frustrates me that I can't have a more external
Even when
perspective.
you're recording the kids with the goal of the kids having a look back at it when they're older, in your mind, you're already tweaking the reality because you subconsciously think, you know, "Oh, I want the kids to think that they had a happy childhood or to perceive their childhood as happy or whatever," you know?
Yeah, look, I'm
subconsciously doing that.
No, I'm consciously doing that. I'm not subconsciously doing that. I'm consciously doing that because I'm consciously aware of it. And you know, look, I'm also, not only do I want to record reality, which is almost impossible. Okay, it's an impossible goal, but it's not a nice goal, but it's still impossible. I also want to frame it in a way where it's nice and interesting to watch as well. So I'm not just thinking about recording it as it is. The same way that if you watch a documentary film, you know, the filmmakers kind of thought, has usually, not always, usually thought, like, where am I going to put the camera to make this, you know, visually interesting or visually nice, or, you know, how am I going to create a nice frame, and, you know, so, you know, I'm going to make these little films where I'm going to make a conscious effort not to include all of the mess, right? And you can argue that that's not real. And I'm like, I'm just avoiding the mess because I don't think that's interesting for people. And that could be completely wrong because maybe the mess is the most interesting thing. So, and you just have to be aware of that. You know, when you take a photograph of something, you are actually choosing not to take a photograph of everything else.
Yes, I understand that.
So,
you know, this is kind of intriguing for me.
So that is, I mean, that's why 360-degree cameras are kind of interesting.
This is what I would like to do if I had a lot of time. Like, we were talking about writers the other day when Fletcher was here, and we were talking about books and about J.K. Rowling, yeah. And he was like, "Oh, there's your true rags to riches story, right? Like she was a single mother, and she had like 4 kids or 3 or how many, I don't know, and she was struggling to survive, and so she wrote these books." And I'm like, "Excuse me, but how does a mother who is struggling to survive, right, find the time to write books? If I'm struggling to survive, I'm working fucking 2 jobs, right? When the fuck does she have the time to write Harry Potter?" I'm like, how does this work? What am I missing? You know? And what was my point that I was making?
I don't know.
I wanted to make a point. I wanted to connect it
I
to
don't
something.
know what point you wanted to make. You were talking about talking with Fletcher. the other day.
Yes, I know.
The Arrow Man.
And I wanted to connect it to something important, and I completely forgot.
I was talking about how the camera misses more than it
Oh
catches.
yes. I would like to. What seems intriguing to me. What I would like to do if I had the time, which I don't, because I'm struggling to survive, right?
Aren't we all?
But if I had the time, that's one of the things that I would like to do. Is be authentic, like be present on the internet, but be authentic. Because even Christina Kuzmic that I told you about there, right? He does the cool videos, and she's all about be kind to yourself and stop believing all those perfect pictures that you see on the internet, and just be normal. And she offers a lot of perspective to mothers, but even she always appears in front of the camera with full makeup on and
Yeah,
great
that's what I
hair,
was gonna make that point. I'm pretty sure that she does that.
So yeah, and all her videos are really funny but staged, and I was just thinking I would like to do. I'd like to take pictures of ugly things, just to get people to understand that that's actually the norm. That's actually the usual thing. What things look like. I'm not talking about the extreme mess that's in the living room right now, yeah, because that is a bit extreme.
Party.
But I'm talking about what's the time? Are we managing time wise?
We are. We do another 5
Yeah,
minutes.
okay.
It'd be cool.
But it's not. The tidy is not the norm in a house with 3 small children. It's just not. It would be great if it was, but it's just not. It can't be. You can't tell me that anyone with 3 little children can keep their house impeccably tidy and spend a lot of quality time with their kids.
Mhm.
It's just not possible, in my opinion. And write Harry Potter at the same time. You know what I mean?
I understand, and I get that point. I would.
Sorry, yeah.
I want to pick on just one word
Yeah.
that you used, yeah. And I know that you don't mean this in this way, but I just want to make it clear, right?
Mhm.
That you said that you feel like you would like to record ugly sometimes because that's the way that things are.
Mhm.
You see, I think disorganized can also be beautiful. I'm not interested in recording ugly because does ugly exist? Yes, but I think the point is to point out the beautiful things, not to ignore the ugly things. Now, you can argue that pointing out the beautiful things is ignoring the ugly things. I get that. I think there's enough ugliness in life already. I think I've seen the kind of art that some people are producing, and I'm like, that's just kind of postmodernist empty bullshit.
Yeah, but art is not.
Yeah, and I've seen some films, like I was talking about, like around Halloween, I was looking for some kind of scary film that we could watch, and all I could find was gore-laden, violent horror that just made me want to
This is
vomit.
stupid, though.
Yeah, no. But my point is that ugliness already exists. Yeah.
But you
And
don't. You didn't get my point. Okay, continue.
And
Sorry.
I think that disorganized or messy,
Mhm.
I don't consider that ugly. In essence, I think that can be beautiful as well.
Well, that's what I mean. I mean, ugly is beautiful because of the authenticity. The authenticity is what makes it beautiful. Also, the point of view is what makes it beautiful. Like one person's ugly is the other person's beautiful. You look at the mess, yeah, and you say ugly. But you look at what's behind the mess, right? All the creativity that was going on, all the play that was going on, and you say it's beautiful.
Yeah, I think
mean,
it's
you
all
get-
beautiful. I don't think it's ugly at all.
You get up in the morning, right, and you've got smudged makeup and greasy hair and pimples all over your face,
What?
and you look at that and you
What?
think that's ugly, yeah? But you look at the person behind it who
think it's
spent half the
amazing.
night up breastfeeding her children, right? And she's got pimples all over her face because of her hormonal imbalances because she has been breastfeeding her children for 7 months, yeah? And you look at the greasy hair and you know that it's greasy because she hasn't had the time to have a shower for 3 days because the child was down with cold and she had to hold her child all the time because they were fussy, yeah?
Mhm.
So you can look at that person and see what they look like and think it's ugly, but then you can look at that person and see what's behind it and consider it beautiful, right? That's what I mean. And the authenticity of that is what makes it beautiful.
Yeah. See, I think it's just like semantics. I don't think
you
that
could,
the idea
yeah,
is different.
because you could clean that person up and put makeup on them, and take a picture of them, and they could be considered beautiful, but you wouldn't know anything further about that person because you've already put that plaster on. You've already put that poster, up. You get it, right? So yeah, that's one of the things that's intriguing for me.
There we go. I've got a football match that I have to take Will to.
Yeah.
That's going to be refreshing.
I need to clean up the living room and I need to work.
And we need to prepare the questions for the
Oh.
quiz.
Uh-huh.
You're so happy about that.
I'm so happy that you volunteered us.
I
love the
think
way that
it's
Will
our
says it.
I think it's our duty to return to this group of people the interest and the enjoyment that they've brought to us with their events.
I just love how Will says it. Daddy volunteered us. He's still.
Of course, and I'll tell you
Daddy
something else.
volunteered
That was not an instantaneous decision. That was a premeditated plan that has been in
of course.
the works for a long period of time. But I like that group of people. They're very friendly. They're very nice, and I want to contribute to their hopeful happiness and entertainment and enjoyment. And so I don't want to be just a consumer. I want to be a contributor to that element. And I think it's something that we can do that's not that's interesting. And yes, it's a little bit of stress, but there are many things in life that are much more stressful than that. So
Like going to a football match, for example.
when it's cold and wet,
Yes.
and you have
And
to stand
early.
out. Sorry,
And early.
cold and wet and early. Yep. yeah.
And when you have to watch Will dancing across the
Yeah,
football
when
pitch.
when he runs away from the ball rather than towards it, it's a bit
Yeah.
distressing.
Yeah, it is.
Um,
Why does he do that?
I think I think it might be. Here's just a thought off the top of my head. It might be that he gets so excited he doesn't know what he's doing. It's just
Could
like,
it be that he's afraid of the physical contact?
yes, that's also true. That
Not just with the ball, but with the boys as well.
yes, he is
Mhm.
definitely,
Mhm.
which I don't understand because he does the taekwondo, and I'm not physical with him, so I don't quite understand that element. Whole situation requiring much more assessment and thought in order to analyze what's going on
Maybe
there.
you should take more videos.
It would be interesting to take a video of him playing and then watch it with him and say, look, here, you actually, you did well, but you missed an opportunity at the same time.
Mm.
Could be. I don't know. Maybe.
Be.
Knowing Will, he'd just be like, whatever.
Yeah.
Just be like, give me the next My Little Pony book.
I told you he was going to read the My Little Pony books. He says they're really good. He says they're actually funny.
Well, I read a bit of them, and it was better than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, I thought it was quite funny.
I thought it was going to be like really, really simple and
Yeah, it's
silly,
not.
but it's not. There's
It's
actually
not.
There's
Yeah.
actually quite a bit of thought gone into
Yeah,
it, which I'm
yeah.
quite surprised about.
He's just going through them.
How do you say, like positively impressed? No, surprised, surprisingly positive. I don't know, something like that. Whatever. My Little Pony rocks.
I was watching
The universe is a unicorn.
Jasmine paint the other day, and I said, "Hi, Jasmine. How are you doing?" And she said, "I'm doing great. I'm really impressed." She's impressed by her own painting. She's so funny. She's so,
I like the way she
good at hers.
enthusiastically begins every conversation.
Oh, yeah.
Hi guys.
Yeah.
Hi Dad. How are you?
She's really good at that. She's really good at that self. She should be like a self thing teacher, like the repair your relationship with yourself. She should be a guru for all those people with low self-esteem and that keep talking down to themselves and stuff, because she's so good at that being enthusiastic with herself as well.
Jazz, would you like another crisp? No, that's enough. Funny girl.
Look, Mummy, I'm doing great.
Exactly.
I'm really good at this.
Yes. Get her a T-shirt that says "Positive Reinforcement Rocks."
Yeah.
There we go.
And
Hey.
she gives it away to others as well.
Hey. Yes. Well, if you don't give it away, you just carry it with you for yourself.
when we went to the
That's-
Thai boxing, and she wasn't even 3 then. She was like 2 3/4, and she would sit on the side
Mhm.
and she would watch me jog past during the warm up, and every time I jogged past she would wave at me and say, "You're doing great, Mom."
She's great.
She was my biggest fan.
She's great. I will be your biggest fan if
If I tidy up the living room.
if you get Will ready, because we've got half an hour.
What?
Yeah.
What's the time?
8:20,
What?
and I have to leave at 9.
When is he supposed to eat his breakfast, for crying out loud?
His first breakfast, his second breakfast, or his third breakfast.
Well, all 4 of them.
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know.
Goodbye. I'm going to get Will up.
That's it. Look, it's light now. It's light now. We can see the dinosaurs in the distance.
We've missed the sunrise.
Um,
See you later.
okay. Dude, it done.